We talked about one Formula One world champion who would be racing at the Circuit of the Americas just in a few weeks. Well, now it's two Formula One world champions. Jenson Button will be joining Rick Ware Racing for 3 races this season, starting at COTA, driving the number 15. And oh my, this is a little bit of a shock, but not too big, because Jenson Button is also working on the Garage 56 entry at Le Mans for NASCAR and Hendrick Motorsports. He will be one of the 3 drivers. So he has been working close with NASCAR, with a team in NASCAR. So me personally, I felt that he would attempt to race one day in NASCAR. I wasn't sure where, I wasn't sure with who, because obviously Hendrick Motorsports, they have 4 cars fielded. They can't field anymore, so Jenson Button can't really race. I personally thought that he might have been a choice for COTA for Chase Elliott's replacement since Elliott's hurt, but they went with Jordan Taylor. But now with Button in the field, speaking of Jordan Taylor, this makes it much more interesting and much more fun. We're going to have Jordan Taylor, an endurance racing superstar. We're going to have 2 Formula One world champions, and could, if Jimmy Johnson decides to jump on board, have an all-time NASCAR great. And it could be pretty fun. I think it'll be fun. But let's see the details. Jenson Button will make his NASCAR debut with 3 Cup Series races this year, starting this month at COTA, working with Rick Ware Racing, Stewart-Haas Racing, and Mobil 1. The other races are Chicago Street Course and Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. So then Rick Ware Racing made their announcement. They released the paint scheme. Here's a look at it if you haven't seen it yet. But yes, Mobil 1, they have been sponsoring Stewart-Haas Racing cars for over a decade. They've been with Tony Stewart. They've been with Kevin Harvick. They've sponsored that team for quite a while. I think they've honestly been on all 4 cars at some point. I remember Boyer having Mobil 1 on the car at some point. Almirola, the 41 might have had it, I don't know. But the point being, Mobil 1 has a very tight connection with Stewart-Haas Racing. And Rick Ware Racing has been a spot for Stewart-Haas Racing before. We've seen Ryan Preece get starts in the Rick Ware Racing car before, back when he was the Stewart-Haas reserve driver. They set up a part-time schedule for him in different series, and in the Cup Series, he raced the Rick Ware Racing car. Well, now that Mobil 1 is willing to back Jenson Button, that they're willing to collaborate with Stewart-Haas Racing to put Jenson Button in this number 15 car, in this Rick Ware Racing car, he's going to have a shot in NASCAR. How competitive will he be? He has raced at COTA before, but of course a completely different car, a Formula One car. Very different driving, very different skill set. Something Button mentioned, he was doing I think it was a Fox NASCAR interview, and he brought up the point, because when I think of the differences in driving in Formula One and NASCAR, I think more of, okay, there's a big weight difference in the car. They're much quicker in F1 in the corners, and obviously they do have a lot of straight line speed, but they also have more gears, quicker to get up through the gears, that kind of thing. Completely different steering wheel, the size of the car I already mentioned. But something I didn't think about that Jenson Button brought up yesterday was how they sit in the car. In a NASCAR stock car, it's kind of like a street car. You're sitting up, you got the steering wheel here, you got a gear shift. You actually do a gear shift. Whereas Formula One, you are laying down in the car, and you got a wheel, but you're laying down in the car. I can't really show a full demonstration here, but I didn't really think about that. So I thought that was an interesting point. Anyways, to have 2 Formula One world champions in the NASCAR field for a race, or potentially multiple races, I don't know if Kimmy's coming back for another race, it's a great thing. It's going to bring a lot of attention to NASCAR. It's going to bring a lot of attention to these sponsors, to these teams, especially for a team like Rick Ware Racing. Look, if you're a NASCAR fan, you know the memes about Rick Ware Racing. If you're an F1 fan, you don't know anything about Rick Ware Racing, brace for impact. Rick Ware Racing is a backmarker. They are what the 2021 Haas team. I want you to imagine that in F1. That's kind of what Rick Ware Racing is. They are the backmarkers. They get lapped all the time. But Stewart-Haas Racing is one of the top teams. I would say they're a B-level team right now. So they get a win every once in a while. I think they had 3 total last year on the schedule, 3 out of 36. But they did have wins last year. They used to be a top-tier championship contender, but they've fallen off the last couple of years. They have a Hall of Fame driver, Kevin Harvick. They have some really good engineers, mechanics, because they still are able to put forth top 10, top 5 cars. So if this is a true collaboration with Stewart-Haas Racing and Rick Ware Racing, I don't expect it to be a true backmarker, but still, you never know because it's Rick Ware Racing. But anyways, how competitive will Button be? I don't know. It is, once again, it's his first NASCAR start. He's never driven a NASCAR car. I think he's tested the Garage 56 entry, but I know there's a lot of differences with that car and the current Cup car. Last time he raced in F1 was 2017. Fun fact of the day. It's for McLaren. I think it's when he replaced Alonso so he could run to the Indy 500. If you're a NASCAR fan and you don't know who Jenson Button is, as I said, he's a world champion. He's a world championship winner. He won it back in 2009 with Braun GP. Yes. If you don't know what that is, basically, they became Braun GP in 2009, obliterated the field in the first half of the season, did enough there, won the world championship, sold to Mercedes. So 1 year of existence, 2 for 2 on championships, the constructors and the drivers, I believe. But yeah, Jenson Button won the world championship in 2009. He had 15 career wins, his last coming in 2012 with McLaren at Brazil. Outside of that, that's about all I know about Jenson Button. He's a world champion. He's won a lot of F1 races. He's a big name. He's British. And yeah, so he's going to be joining NASCAR. He's going to be in the 15 car for 3 races this year. I thought that was a fun part of the announcement. He's going to be at the inaugural Chicago Street Course race and also the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course used to be the home of Formula One in the United States in the early to mid 2000s, I believe. So I think he's actually raced there too before, but the fact that he is in the field makes it very exciting. We already knew about Kimi. We already knew about Jordan Taylor replacing Chase Elliott in the 9 due to Elliott's injury. So I think it's going to be a very fun field for that weekend. It's going to be a fun race. I'm really excited to see how Jenson Button's going to do, and of course, the other 2 drivers as well. Jenson Button, Rick Ware Racing, Stewart-Haas Racing, Mobil 1, NASCAR. Should be fun. I'm interested to see how they do. Way too early prediction. I think a top 20 may be achievable for Button, but I don't think he'll win. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, Jenson Button fans, but I am still curious to see how he does. They are going to have an extra long practice session that weekend. NASCAR has implemented a new aero package for the race cars, and since that will be the first time with that new aero package at a road course, they're going to have an extra long 50-minute practice session that they will be able to test the cars, run them, everyone get a feel for the cars in terms of the drivers. They can make changes. So Jenson Button will get a few extra laps than he would if this was last year's race. So very exciting, very fun. I think Kimi, Button, Taylor, it'll be a really fun weekend for those 3. We'll be highlighting them, I'm sure, that whole weekend. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of these drivers, specifically Jenson Button today, since he is the biggest news, or the newer news, I guess you could say. And I'll see you in the next video, which should be tomorrow. Do my Las Vegas vlog finally. I wanted to do it yesterday, got busy. Wanted to do it today, but I had to push the Jenson Button news back to today. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good day.